Zohran Mamdani just became New York's first socialist mayor. A week later, he's calling Trump, my boy surrendered. All right. That's not satire either. That's survival. The same man who campaigned on fighting Trump now says, quote, this relationship will be critical. Know what that means? Reality finally sent him a friend request. Now, I'm going to read some of this article from MSN. I know. The question is, will he use the red courtesy phone? Then it reads, Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani confirmed Tuesday that he will reach out to President Trump before taking office New Year's Day, telling NBC, or as I like to call it, MBS, NBC New York in an interview that the relationship between City Hall and the White House, quote, will be critical for the success of the city. Oh, really? Mamdani, 34. Didn't specify when he would contact the administration, but said he will be proactive as he tries to thwart Trump's hardline immigration and crime policies. Yeah, I got some Googling to do after that. But look, when the cameras are gone and the city's budget hits your desk, the slogan starts sounding like bad poetry, if you will. Free buses, rent freezes, immigrant utopia. Until Treasury calls and says, yeah, who's paying for that? Now he's calling the guy he used to call evil, because when the Wi-Fi reality kicks back in, when it kicks back on, Trump's the only one with service. Just saying. But even while the city's broke, let's just say the pastries aren't cheap.
I was just in a cafe trying to get some work done, and the new mayor of New York City was in there, Zohran Mamdani, shooting an interview with NBC for some reason. Why the hell is he in this cafe in my neighborhood? And I gotta say, this is my choice to go to a cafe like this. It's extremely expensive. They sell chocolate bars there, Dubai chocolate bars, if you know what I mean, for $10. $10 fucking chocolate bars. This guy's a socialist, and he's eating a bar of gold that they claimed is food. It's a joke. It's a fucking joke. This guy's absurd. The drinks are $8 minimum. Chocolate bars through the roof. Croissants ass fucked with pistachio and chocolate, and everything's $15. And this guy wants free grocery stores. He's spending that much money. He's got 3 security guards. He's got a social media person with him, a young white woman who he may or may not have some sort of allegations coming from at some point. It's TikTok, so I can't say which kind. Sexual. That's bound to happen. He's got his young assistant, also white. He's got a security guard, tall, white guy, and a female black security guard, of course. A little diversity, throw it in the mix. A woman who can't defend him at all. That interview. Here's a guy who's talking about saving money, how billionaires are wasting money. We should be taking their money and putting it back into the city that I love. That coffee probably cost him $7,000 between all the employees he has surrounding him. And also, here's the kicker. I wish I had filmed this. I should have. I was actually trying to work like a moron. I should have been filming this whole thing. At the end of the interview, he walks out of the cafe. He called it a coffee shop because he wants to be a man of the people. It's an expensive Middle Eastern cafe. He walks out of the cafe into the street and gets into a black SUV. He doesn't take public transit. He's in an expensive black car. He's in the modern day limousine. Trump took limousines, and Mamdani takes black cars.
Oh no. He's a hypocrite. How shocking is that? Nothing says men of the people like a $15 croissant and a film crew. You promised free grocery. Well, you're promising free groceries. Now you're sipping coffee that costs more than a gallon of gas. Every socialist revolution eventually finds itself in a coffee shop with Wi-Fi, wondering why the peasants didn't show up. And even the networks are starting to notice.
No, and we knew a lot of his freebies are not going to be able to happen, because economically we cannot make it happen. I mean, look at Hochul coming against him today and saying, we cannot give free buses. Well, she's the one who endorsed him when he was talking about this nonsense. What, did she think he's just filling in?
When people make economic decisions based upon a government shutdown, that's not going to go well for the economy.
Are willing to lie, deceive, say whatever they have to say to get elected. Once they get elected, they know they can do whatever they want to do, and it doesn't matter if they do not impose every single thing or accomplish every single thing that they promise.
Right.
All they have to do is get the camel's nose in the tent, and then you can start little by little, inch by inch, getting your whole body into the tent and getting whatever you want to get done.
Yeah.
Sold the city a bill of lies. That's not partisan, y'all. That's math. You can't print cash and expect peace. You can't hand out freebies while taxing the people still left to pay for them. It's like trying to fix a sinking ship by charging the passengers extra for buckets. And the voters who chanted his name, let's just say they switching sides faster than the Netflix login.
Is Mamdani good for black New Yorkers?
He is another political puppet.
I think he's a bit of a socialist.
You don't believe that it's a show?
I've never asked myself this question.
Let's chat.
Do you believe he's for black people?
I don't think he actually cares about this community. One thing that was really troubling to me was when he applied for college as a black person.
Wait, you said Mamdani applied to college as a black person?
He did. And clearly he was to take advantage of a system and gain benefits by taking a spot away from an already disenfranchised people.
I'm sorry.
If you're willing,
he didn't even get in?
No, he didn't. The Democratic Party's rallying around him, obviously, because he's the pick. So now we have endorsements from people like Kamala Harris, Barack Obama. If you were to ask Zohran at the time when they needed him, would he have endorsed them? No, he specifically told voters not to vote for Kamala Harris.
That's what Mamdani said?
Yes. He's called Barack Obama evil.
Wow.
Do you know he's proposing defund the police and send social workers to deal with crimes?
What are we talking about?
I mean, at the end of the day, if a woman, God forbid, is being violently attacked by her boyfriend, what would you be able to do as a social worker to de-escalate without weapons, without training? And he should not be shouting out international terrorist groups or not saying that globalize the intifada is a dangerous thing to say, because it is.
He comes from a family that already has a little money, and so I don't believe he can be bought.
He constantly says how he's against millionaires and billionaires while coming from a millionaire family and while accepting large donations from people such as George Soros.
Okay.
So I wouldn't necessarily say that he can't be bought.
Yeah.
So he can say that he's going to do a bunch of things. It doesn't mean it's going to be true. It's all fantasy because he hasn't actually shown us what he can do and how he's going to do that. He's using freeze the rent as like a rally cry, as if he's going to freeze the rent of people in impoverished communities within New York City. It's only going to freeze 25% of the apartments. How much is that helping the average New Yorker?
So who would you believe is the better candidate?
I think Andrew Cuomo, for me. He has a proven track record. He's done Moynihan. He's done 2nd Avenue Subway, LaGuardia, JFK, like everything. He's in the community seeing how he can actually make it better. It's not just smoke and mirrors and a conversation and a catchy slogan.
I'm going to do more deep diving.
It was so nice having this. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Nice talking to you. I hope you much success, okay?
It was a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
Wow. I got to give her credit. When the same New Yorkers who said he's different now says he's a puppet, that's not politics. That's karma, my boy. That's what happens when you elect hashtags instead of hard hats. They wanted revolution, but instead they're getting rent reminders. And people across the country are watching this train wreck in 4K.
I'm fucking pissed, so let's just get this thing started right away, all right? So, the country of Uganda, every single year, always places in the top 10, 20 worst countries on planet Earth for their lack of civil rights. They have no freedom of speech. They've got no freedom of expression. They have no protections for their LGBTQ communities. The World Economic Forum and every other international association doesn't even send Uganda money anymore because every time they do, it magically disappears into the shadow of corruption, all right? Simultaneously, we've got someone running for mayor of New York City who is from Uganda, but instead of coming here and expressing a shred of gratitude or recognizing that America is his last safe harbor, protecting him from what would have been a life of oppression and discrimination in his home country, does nothing but criticize America. He criticizes our society, our institutions, our culture. He stands antithetical to pretty much everything America stands for. And why is this a critical nuance vis-a-vis the rest of the waves of immigration that have come to America? I'll tell you why. Because between the years 1890 and 1954, when something like 20 million European immigrants came to America, they came here because they loved this country. They believed in the American dream. They instilled the American spirit in their children and their grandchildren. They were ready to fight in World War I. They laid down life and limb in World War II. They recognized expressly that America was a light on this globe, saving them from the political unrest, turmoil, and famine of their home countries, okay? So here's a radical concept. How about we stop letting folks in this country that actually fucking hate America? And two, why don't we never ever dream about letting one of them run for mayor of Western civilization's greatest fucking city?
Yeah, my guy was passionate about that message. Say what you want about his tone, but the point hits. When America gives you freedom and your first act is to complain about America, that's not oppression. That's ingratitude. That's exactly what that is. Zohran's learning the hard way, though. Patriotism might not trend, but it still pays the bills. And down south, they're already roasting the Northern experiment.
I want Democrats to understand something. All the Democrats that are planning on running to Florida, running to Texas because of Mamdani, and this is just a thing. Y'all destroy y'all cities. Y'all keep voting in the same people. Y'all voted in like New Jersey, for instance, right? New Jersey had horrible economy. You know why? Because they keep voting Democrat, and look, it just keeps getting worse. It's like they can't comprehend that the policies of the Democrat are actually hurting the state. The same in Virginia. They had a great governor. Virginia was a mess before Glenn Youngkin took it over. He fixed it, brought jobs in, brought prices down, fixed the school system, and they voted back in another Democrat. Right. And in New York, the same way, under Democrat control forever. And they still voted in a more radical Democrat. This is how Democrats are. They voted in for attorney general, a more radical attorney general. The Democrat Party has lost their mind. And now they're trying to come here. Please understand that the reason you're running to Republican areas is because Republican policies are better than Democrat policies. That's why y'all all want to come to Texas and Florida and all these places, because our policies are better. Our cost of living is better in Republican places. Our groceries are cheaper because we are capitalists. We want less government. Y'all want more government. So y'all put everybody on Social Security and Medicaid and just all these government programs. So what you got to do is raise the taxes. And then none of the billionaires and millionaires that you campaign against want to live there. So they all come to Florida. So now you have nobody else to tax. So you got to tax the middle class. It's a cycle.
This dude just said, keep that liberal nonsense up north. I'll translate what he was really saying. We watch y'all turn paradise into paperwork and call it progress. New York's exporting bad ideas faster than Amazon Prime these days, but nobody's accepting a delivery. And governors like DeSantis are spelling out why it's collapsing.
Night, he wins this big victory. He is a Marxist. He also obviously is an Islamist as well, which is increasingly becoming hat in hand around the world. And then a couple days later down in Florida, we've established November 7th as a day to remember the victims of communism. That's the anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution. And so I have people who have fled communism, and they say, you know what? Those promises remind me of what Castro was selling back in the day. I remember these guys trying to say that. And then what happened to this great island? It became a communist prison. And so we're working hard in Florida to educate our kids about the evils of Marxism and Leninism. And yes, there's less freedom, less opportunity. Mark, there's 100 million dead in the 20th century as a result of Marxism, Leninism. We know his program is going to fail. People have promised this stuff in the past. They've attempted this stuff in the past, and it has failed. And I can tell you, if you are somebody in the NYPD, are you going to want to wear that uniform and risk your life for a mayor that hates you and hates your agency and doesn't think your agency can exist? So I think the economics is going to be terrible, but I think the crime is going to go up, and I think people are going to run for the hills.
Now, DeSantis called it before it happened. He said ideology doesn't protect cops, fix math, or clean subways. And that's the bigger picture. The left sells feelings, all these libs. But what I'm seeing is the right is trying to build function. Trump warned New York. He warned New York City would fold under socialist promises. Now Zohran's calling him for a bailout. That's not irony. That's prophecy. And the truth always comes full circle.
I want to talk about the myth that immigrants built America, that immigrants built New York City, and that everyone that is in America is an immigrant, because it's not true.
New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant.
That eliminates the story of those formerly enslaved people and products of that enslavement, like myself. There's been a concerted effort to eliminate Black Americans from the conversation of their impact and importance in the way that this country was built and developed with free labor from my ancestors. I'm really glad that Zohran Mamdani is the mayor of New York City. I did my part to campaign for him and boost his messaging, and the fact that I thought he would make a good mayor on this page and very loudly on social media. But that doesn't abscond him from critique. Black Americans versus immigrants, and how these two aren't the same, and how it is imperative that we understand the difference when talking about the development of this nation and what that means for history and what that means for our present and our future. New York was not a city built solely by immigrants. New York was a city founded by European settlers and developed initially by the work of enslaved Black people. In the early days of New York City, Black people cleared the land, built roads, built the initial buildings, built Wall Street, built the first city hall. They built the first city ports. And Black people were vital to the success of the early days of New York City, working in various arenas such as artisans, domestic servants. Black people are pivotal to the development of this nation, full stop. And without Black Americans, no immigrant would be allowed to come here, especially no immigrant who is Black, brown, or any of the above. So when you have immigrants who are able to come to America, and they came in waves in New York. So New York was developed by immigrants as well, and immigration as well, but those waves were allowed by the development and work of Black Americans. So you have a group of people who built the country, were enslaved in this country for centuries before any immigrants came, and those immigrants are allowed to do things and being propped up over in spite of Black Americans. So when you have immigrants that come here and they're able to succeed, they're not coming with the weight or baggage of being the product of slavery here. They then turn around and look down on Black Americans or say, why can't you do what we did? Or Black Americans are lazy, but you do not understand what it means to be Black American in America. And Zohran, I've seen your team. I don't think I've seen any Black people on your team. And I hope you get someone who's Black from New York, and hopefully a Black woman, to make sure you are touching every part of the city. And that includes Black Americans who are foundational to that city, not just all the immigrant populations. Even though we all live amongst each other and New York is New York because of the diversity, there needs to be an effort to ensure that we are not eliminating Black Americans from the conversation, because without Black Americans, there would not be an America, and there would definitely not be a New York City. Congratulations once again on winning the race. I think you're going to be a phenomenal mayor. I just think this is something you need to think about, and it's something that needed to be addressed and something that's brought to your attention.
Obviously, we don't share the same political beliefs. There's a lot. How do I say what I'm trying to say? He's obviously for Zohran. I'm not. However, he did make a point that I wanted to point out. You can't rewrite history to fit your slogan. All right. This is coming from a non-victim perspective as well. Non-victim mentality on my end. But, you know, Black Americans were part of building New York's bones. Immigrants built opportunity on that foundation. You know, that's what real unity looks like. Ownership, not victimhood. Congratulations to him, though. Whew. I'll just say Trump's message was never hate the outsider. It was protect the builders, right? That's the lesson Zohran's really about to relearn. One budget crisis at a time. Zohran thought he was fighting the system. Turns out he is the system. And it's broke. New Yorkers are realizing what we already knew. You can't defund logic, right? You can't tax your way out of bad math. And you can't fix a city by pretending Trump isn't the guy you're secretly calling for help. Just saying. Funny thing is, Trump didn't even have to say, I told you so. Reality kind of said it for him. Now, if you made it to the end of this video, I want you to put No, that's too long. I was going to say, right, Trump has the passcode. But I can't think of nothing. I can't think. Put surrender. There we go. Boom. It was right there. No, I almost missed it. Y'all be safe. Go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.